quickie quickie video on Mars and Aquarius, which Mars entered the sign of Aquarius last night here Pacific time on February 12th, February 13th for some of you. In the Pacific time zone, it was 10:05 p.m. Okay. And as I'm making this video on Tuesday, which is Mars's day, tonight at 10:05 p.m., 24 hours after Mars entered the sign of Aquarius, it makes its conjunction with Pluto in Aquarius. So just want to say hello to people in chat that are joining in. But yes, Mars. Let's just remember something here with Mars off the bat here. Uh, Individualism, discord. Mars is the god of war. Air is the god of war. It deals with weapons and tools and impulse and instinct, so on and so forth. So we're dealing with Mars that cuts and separates, that's forceful, and in a sense, Mars is a me first type of energy. So let's just get some keywords out of the way with Mars. Discord, uh, outwardly pushing forth, competitive, wild, impulsive, instinctual. Hello, everybody in chat joining in. So got some key Mars words there. And so we're talking about Aquarius. We're talking about an individualistic sign. So innovative sign Aquarius is. Sometimes walks alone a lot of times. Wants its space, appreciates its space, needs to break off from what's normal, and create its own individual world. So uh, independence is a huge thing for Aquarius in whatever subject matter that it's dealing with in life, or you just pick the subject matter. Now, for those watching, you just look to the Aquarius part of your chart, and this energy that's been coming in here, like these storylines coming in with Mercury last week in Aquarius, Pluto being there, as you know. I did my video on this kind of stuff, and for those who did watch my video, you made a promise, and today with Mars in Aquarius, that promise is active, and active is a Mars thing. Like you actively pursue something, we're actively pushing towards something. So the Mercury Pluto promise of last week is at its next stage here, and it's an action oriented place. So I just want to say that and remember the unpredictableness of Aquarius and how it thrives on breaking off and doing things erratically. Because usually a lot of times with the sign of Aquarius, there's a visionary something involved. There's a visionary fixed story involved, and so Mars entering Aquarius here wants to push that vision in its own aggressive way. So I will tell you something else about Mars and Aquarius because I know it personally. Um, since Aquarius is a fixed sign, and like all fixed signs, they're very determined about what they attach themselves to or what they focus on. And once they do, there's no getting in their way. And it's great because it gets things done, and there's an intense, pinpointed focus. At the same time, there could be a stubbornness in the tunnel vision and not seeing certain things because of it. So Mars in Aquarius is going to be super dogmatic in its ways at times, but it's fueled by this independence and its need to break off and its need to be original. And it will do that with increased mind power here. So we think about an air sign with Aquarius and then Mars coming in there and increases this kind of focused determination with the mind and whatever can get done. If we take it and bring it out of the mind into the body, the movement that Aquarius wants to make from what it's wearing, from what it's portraying, for what it's doing in the body, and even blood circulation, it's going to move oddly, differently, abstractly, and it will not let go of this. So let's say you're interacting with somebody who has Mars and Aquarius on a day like today, and Pluto's involved, or starts to be. They're not only just actively going to be doing their Aquarius, they're feeling it everywhere, not in just in their heads. It's moving down from the top chakras all the way down to the bottom lower chakras into the loins and back and forth. And how they do this outward maneuvering, how they show their individual selves here, is no holds barred. Okay, so so this is a key thing here. Just look to the Aquarius part of your chart. If you're feeling some changes there, you know the promise that you made to Pluto last week. I know some of you thought you were making it to me, even though I am a Pluto person. And I have more coming on this kind of thing, but just remember that here. We take Mars. It lusts after things, it fights for things, and you take that raw energy, you put it into the sign of Aquarius, the water bearer, the air sign that needs to take something higher, synthesize it, and make it different and more refined. And this time it's through everything, not just through the mind, through the body. And if you put this one word in your brain, is innovation. So think about what you want to innovate in the Aquarius part of your chart. And if you already know through this last couple weeks and through Mercury Pluto last week, you know what it is, and you know you signed the Pluto contract and you made the promise, then now's when you could start to actively make that promise turn into something. Now, this is pretty much on stage for anybody here in Aquarius part of the chart the next 3 weeks, okay? Now, you also have to remember that the Pluto story in Aquarius is going to last 20 years. So there's many different stages to this transformative rebirth story, and some of those places are very difficult. You might actually in the next couple weeks get a glimpse of the 20 years of the process involved with Pluto and Aquarius, Mars being there. Venus will come here Saturday. That's for another video I'm going to do. But gauge how you're doing this in the Aquarius part of your chart. And remember, if you have any other signs in fixed signs, the Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, they're squaring this or opposing Leo stuff in your chart. Pay attention to the process that the way Aquarius is functioning right now. But I'll tell you, you're not going to get in the way of Mars and Aquarius right now. You're just not. And if you notice what they are doing and how they are taking action and how they are portraying themselves, and you have a connection to it, like you're almost inspired by it, go all in on it, okay? If you don't know how to do this, take a look this week about what that means to you and what it means to impulsively do something, or how to take action in your life, and focus that on the Aquarius part of your chart. But remember, Mars is fast and forceful, okay? Can be lusting, it's raw, it likes to fight sometimes, doesn't want anything to get in its way. It thrives on strength and fighting, and how one has gone through the forging process of this. And so that is some key words for you all to do. I know some of you know the astrology already, some of you don't know, whatever, but if you don't know where Aquarius is in your chart, you can get a hold of me for free. I'll send you your chart, okay? So there's that. That again, tonight, I was going to go live in a different kind of way, but tonight at 10:05, February 13th, and this is where everything I told you about impulse and action of Mars goes through a Pluto doorway that deals with power and obsession. And so people get freaked out in Mars Pluto transits. Some people should, if they've been on the dark side of manipulation, because I think they pay the price here when they try to enforce this. But be careful of manipulative situations around you. And at the same time, if you're feeling that impulse and instinct to do something, whatever, it could come with the basis and the core of Pluto, where it's obsessing, wants to control and steer something 100% its way. It's the surge of power coming through. There's a great way to use stuff like this, but you have to be careful of not going overboard with this. And some of you will. Some of you will do this in the next couple of weeks, and those are the lessons that come with power. Is loss or going too far, and knowing how far one can go, and honoring power. So if you're not used to wielding Pluto power, if you're not used to that, Mars and Pluto here are going to totally push it over the edge for some of you. And that's cool, as long as you gauge. And if you can gauge those power moments where maybe you pushed it too far, or you've had external events that people are trying to do this to you, you know how to handle it. And it gives you an insight to how to handle Pluto and Aquarius in your chart for the next 20 years. But here, when we have Mars and Mercury here, and then eventually Venus, these are tangible planets. These are planets that make us use it. We use these planets to see what it is. And if you look at this from an innovative, experimental mode that Aquarius likes to do, remember, it's like it's in the lab. It wants to refine the process of the idea of the something new, something that's innovative, something coming out of the blue. Then you can really harness the power. So, you know, again, if you don't have Aquarius planets in your chart, look to see if you have any fixed planets. It will square that part of your chart too. So we'll come from the Aquarius part of your chart and square, let's say it's a Taurus part of your chart, so on and so forth. Remember too that this is going on all week, and it will for the next couple weeks. So on and so forth. Let me look into chat. I just want to say hi to everybody. Same old crew, which is good. Joe G or Star Amandita. I see all of you. Steffi G, Levity, Timothy, so on and so forth. But the one cool thing about fixed signs and something like Aquarius to remember is that even though today and this week it's gonna feel like all or nothing because it's a Mars Pluto connection, it feels that way. It's like life or death feeling, that impulsiveness and obsessiveness. Remember with fixed signs in Aquarius, it's a long game. And if out of anybody who can do the long game, you talk to any Scorpio, talk to any Taurus, talk to Leo too, and Aquarius, they will tell you in their lives that playing the long game is part of being a fixed sign. It can't help it. That stubbornness that can create those blind sides and tunnel vision with them, it's true, but at the same time can get them through situations that most people wouldn't survive or follow through on. So if you can remember the innovative experimental part of things, and also remember that it's a long game, that you can spread this powerful Mars Pluto energy. Can you stretch it out into the long game? Can you create the rooted something in the Aquarius part of your chart that shows you the long game, that shows you how to spread the energy out? And can you replenish that energy when it seems like it's going to go away? Like sometimes Aries people or Mars people, they could tell you this stuff, whether they admit it or not, that they will do Mars and go all in, and everyone around them seems like it's life or death, and it's emotional, it's everything, and then they crash and burn, right? It's like nothing ever happened. Okay, so lessons you can take from that is trying to stretch the energy out, and by using fixed Aquarius energy, you can do this, and you could do it in a different way, and that's the way I'm thinking about it. That's the way I'm using it. Hence, you see me doing these little videos. I could have went on the bigger live. I'm going to do that tomorrow, and I'll tell you about that here in a second. So that's a quickie for you, if this is a quickie. And I'm doing this too because people are catching this on the shorts feed. Anyway, tonight, Mars will conjunct Pluto on Pacific Coast time at 10:05, just 24 hours after Mars entered Aquarius. And use the transit, okay? Listen, I see my colleagues, everyone's got their different versions of how they do this. You got your own versions of understanding astrology and what Mars is, what Mars in Aquarius, what Mars Pluto is. But remember, there are external things we cannot control. It's how we react to things, right? The choices that you make. But you're not at mercy to the planets, to the transits. Sometimes it is that way. It's just how you choose to react to those situations. But a lot of times you actually create things, you choose things. So, can it get fearful? Can it get scary with a Mars Pluto story? It can, but you need to look at that fear. And can you take it? Can you weaponize it? Can you make it and craft it into something and use it to your advantage and take the fear to propel you into things? Most people who you would consider successful or pulled off some amazing stuff, if you were to ask them privately what was going on in their process, most of them would tell you they were freaked out. They didn't know what they were doing at some points, but they needed the courage. Because they summoned up the courage to keep going, to figure it out. And that's another thing about Mars, is courage. So if you don't know, try to use Mars Pluto in a fun way if possible, in an experimental, innovative way. And use it. Use the transit. You're not beholden to the transit. Use the transits. Become Mars. Become Pluto. Just be careful how you yield the power. But if you're in that flow, and you feel the change and you feel something you've never felt before with wheeling power, especially the Aquarius part of your chart, take an Aquarius note of it. Take that part, next several weeks, 20 years, take that part, put it back together again, play with the power, go back to the lab, take it in pieces, harness it, do it in a different way again, put it back out there, back and forth, back and forth. Courage and confidence helps you with this, and the innovativeness and the forward thinking of Aquarius is playing around in the lab, basically, and coming back with something better, something new. Okay, so that's it. That's my thing right here. I hit my 15-minute mark. I want to say hi to everybody that joined in here. And tomorrow, when I'm making this video on Valentine's Day, February 14th, I'm going to do a live stream with a colleague of mine, Natalie H., who's got her own YouTube channel, and we're going to do a live stream. We're going to talk about a particular person's chart that my friend picked, which is an interesting one. It's a good one. And I think she called it "We're Love Bombing You" live stream. It's probably for those on Valentine's Day. They're not necessarily being who knows? It's such a loaded holiday. It's good and bad ways. I'm not going to diss on it. I hope it flows for you. If you're not doing anything, you're sitting around, come say hi on the live stream tomorrow. I'll be 7:30 Central Time, 5:30 Pacific. We're love bombing you. That's the name. That's what Natalie came up with. And I laughed when I heard it. So we're going to do that tomorrow. I have something else planned this week that I'm going to work on. Let's remember on Saturday here, February 17th, Venus will enter Aquarius on the 16th on Friday, and on the 17th, early in the middle of the night or whatever, Venus is going to enter Pluto. And I have thoughts about all this. I have thoughts about this, more things I usually do on my bigger live streams, and I am simmering here, so on and so forth. And this is coming to you from a Mars in Aquarius. Okay, so you can only imagine what I have in my brain. It's, can I put it in the form? And so at the same time, I got to be careful this week because I'm feeling ruthless, and I'm taking the long game. You know what I mean? So I'll see you all. Thanks for jumping in. It's good to see Channel and Jendi and everybody. Rebecca, I'm looking at your comments. I would talk more about them. Hurahid from Uzbekistan. Good to meet you. Thanks for joining the live stream. And yes, thanks everybody. And I come by the live stream tomorrow, okay? 5:30 Pacific. You'll see it on my page. You'll see me go live. I'm going to advertise it a little bit more here, okay? And just another Mars day, just another Tuesday, just a Tuesday in this crazy history with just a Mars and Pluto conjunction. You see I'm laughing about this? You know why I'm laughing about it? Is because I can't sleep, and I am trying to channel what I'm feeling on the inside. I must channel this power. I must take it, hone it, focus it inward, and soon to be outward.